a lot of panelists, and we have a great topic, so hopefully we'll have fun for the next hour. I'm Bart Fader. I'm the CEO of the Feed Room. We started the Feed Room 7 years ago in the first broadband boom, which unfortunately started before anybody had broadband. But unlike most of the people who started around the time that we did, we actually lived to tell the tale and still have a business. And now we're as fascinated as I'm sure all of you are by all the changes and all the growth and things like vlogs. They've been around for a long time, they just didn't have a name, and now they do. So it's just to tell you what we're here. It's one of the longest things I've ever seen for a panel. Vlogs and video aggregators, broadband and mobile video blogging, next-gen entertainment and journalism, social networking and personal communication. And we're going to do this in 1 hour. What's great is that we have 6 people who are living this every day and have started companies in the last few years that are leaders in the space. And I'm going to get them all to tell you what they do. I just want to read, and you probably all read it, but I just think it's good to kick it off. And Victor probably wrote this stuff, but it's a really good way to start. He wrote in the description, the ability for the individual to reach out to the world through video is about to become as ordinary as text messaging is today. Video as a primary communications and entertainment tool for the individual is an idea that has yet to arrive, but is only around the corner. What it means to the content, communications, technology, and advertising industries is anyone's guess. It may be the next revolution. Those are big words. So we'll go down the line. And these guys will get to introduce themselves, tell you what their company does, how it fits in, and if each of you can, let's start by thinking, is this hyperbole? It's your business, but still, is it hyperbole? Is this the next revolution? Is this the next big thing? And if so, why? And we'll start with Mike.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Mike Hudak. I'm the CEO of Blip.tv. And I have to say, there's no hyperbole there whatsoever. It will most definitely be the next revolution. And I'm going to hit every single thing in the title of this panel in my 3-minute introduction. Blip.tv is a video blogging and video podcasting service. Basically what we do is we provide the tools, hosting, distribution, advertising, sales, distribution on the TV, iPods, iTunes, all that kind of fun stuff. For people who, at the end of the day, they may self-identify as video bloggers, they may self-identify as video podcasters, but really, in essence, are creating their own independent TV shows. They have a unique perspective to bring, and there's this wonderful confluence of technology and social change that has made it possible for them for, I don't know, a couple $100. A lot of their shows are produced for like $10 for a 5 or 10-minute show or episode. To create really incredibly compelling content that people want to watch. And so you've got cheap camcorders for like $200 that people can get. Every PC sold in the last 5 years comes with video editing software. And then you have things like Blip, things like Yahoo Video, things like AOL Video, iTunes, a video iPod, Akimbo, which is an internet-connected video-on-demand system, dare I say, TiVo, all of these things that are making it possible for an ordinary guy, any one of these people in the audience, to create something original and different and get it in front of tons of people. And I'll just give you an example or two of things that people use Blip for. One is called Alive in Baghdad. And Alive in Baghdad is a weekly series. They're about 5-minute episodes, and it's shot, edited, and produced by ordinary Iraqis in Baghdad, showing you what life is actually like for them. It's like citizen journalists, but it's more than that. It's really incredible, and you can walk with them through the streets as their neighbors pick up AK-47s and patrol their neighborhood because nobody else is. It's unbelievable stuff, and they're producing this for next to nothing and distributing it for thousands of people to watch, and it's something you can't find anywhere in the mainstream media. So beautiful things. So, get over to Dave.
I'll give it to Dave in a second. Just one rule about the panel. The words that are never allowed to be used on this panel today, or from the audience, are the next YouTube. Nobody's allowed to utter that phrase, either from the audience or from the panel. But Dave?
All right, I'm Dave Toole, CEO of Althink, and a participant in the video blogging evolution, revolution, and beyond YouTube. What Althink does is we provide collaboration software for rich media. So as an example, as Mike mentioned, Alive in Baghdad, there's some folks in Iraq who are producing a show. They use our software to connect from Iraq to some folks in the US that are editing that and helping to tell the story. And then when it's done, we upload it to Blip TV. So we're part of the tools that are used in the production process. A lot of people are starting to create collaborative videos, collaborative video blogs, collaborative personal media, collaborative podcasts from different locations around the world. Another example is we're involved in launching an Asian American MTV network that will be combining broadcast television with collaboration around music and video. So there's some examples of what we're up to.
All right, Mary.
My name is Mary Hodder, and I'm the CEO of Dabble. Dabble is a company that I founded, and what we're doing is aggregating the citations to video. So it's not actually the video, it's just all the information around the video and the link to the video and making that searchable. So there's about 270 hosting sites that allow users to put their videos there. And in addition to that, there's thousands of independent sites like NBC and CNN and whatnot that have video in short form or video that's available on the web, and we make that all searchable. We also have combined search with a kind of social network or social site that allows people to add information to that video. So Dabble can take the gestures that people make inside, like if somebody makes a playlist and they call it the Mentos and Coke playlist, then it's probably pretty true that all the videos in that playlist are Mentos and Coke videos, even if they're not labeled that way by the users who uploaded them to another site, or they aren't tagged properly or anything. Our users can help organize them, or they can take gestures from outside of Dabble, like if somebody links to a video in Delicious and tags it, or blogs about it, or in some way tags it outside of Dabble, we find out about that as well. And so we take all of those gestures and can improve the search. And our theory is that basically media is really hard to search, that you get 60, 70, 80% of what you need to get good results, but 70% is a C-, and users know that. They know that right away when they're searching if they get bad results, and they'll just click away. So if you have people helping you understand better the context of the media, you can give much better results. So that's why we're combining both social and technological or programmatic ways to search. So that's what we do.
And Jonathan's batting for Josh.
All right, so, hi, my name is Jonathan Chamroux. I'm the VP of Marketing and Products for Grouper Networks, and I think it's not taboo to ask who will be the next Grouper. But,
no, that's okay. You can say that.
Fair enough. So Grouper is a video sharing site, and we were acquired by Sony Pictures Entertainment 2 months ago. And we really came onto the scene not even 10 months ago, for starters, as a video sharing site that lets users upload, share, watch videos, as well as create their own videos, post them. And a few things that make us unique that caught a lot of people's attention are things like the distribution of videos. So we know people want to get their videos out there, and we have one-click pathways to publish video to other sites throughout the internet, MySpace, Friendster, blogs, social networks. You can download any video to iPod, PSP, your PC, etc. And we absolutely think it's the next revolution for a few reasons. One, this is where the audience is, and so that's attracted all the big players. And two, decades ago, people could say, "I'm going to make you a star," right? A Hollywood executive could say that. And today, users are saying, "I'm going to make me a star," because they have there are no boundaries and no barriers, so people have access to reach the audience. And so what Grouper is committed to is both marrying copyrighted content, which we now have from Sony, with traditional user-generated content as a destination site, and remaining an origination platform. So people that upload video to Grouper or see video on Grouper can then take that and spread it to the places that they want to go with it. Like comrades have said, we have short films and auteurs on our site. We have music video creators. We have people doing eyewitness news on the street, and it's everything under the sun. And so one of our commitments as well is discoverability and making that easy to find for users, because that's what's going to keep them coming back.
Thomas?
Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Randolph, and I'm the president of Frame Free Technologies, and also I'm the CEO of Internet Global Television. I focus pretty much on the technology side of video blogs. We think the technology needs a lot of help. If lots of YouTubes and groupers get online, it's going to melt down the internet. So we have compression technologies that goes way beyond H.264. We're compressing videos 1/3 the size, 1/5 the size right now. We also have another format called Frame Free Studio, which compresses 25 times smaller than Windows Media. So I'm just going to pass around a cell phone with this stuff actually running on it. And I hope I get my phone back at the end of the session. Now the stuff that's running on my phone is all generated on the phone. So there's a small DSP on the phone, luckily, and we're just decoding photographs. So by just putting photographs in and interpolating, we can generate imagery on the phone. So these files are like 30K, 40K, 50K, very small. If you press 9 or 8, you can lower the volume. So we're based in San Francisco and Tokyo. We also make it easy for bloggers to make their own content quickly on the web. So you can throw some photographs, make movies, attach it to your blog. We're also doing indie MTV type festivals in Tokyo right now, getting these indies to actually make their own tool and ship it to the web. So a lot of exciting technology coming down. We're trying to help, hopefully not melt down the internet.
All right, Kevin.
So my name is Kevin Slottick. I'm with VideoEgg, and I'm very happy to be here today with all these folks up here talking about the state of digital video on the internet. The quick 2 cents on VideoEgg is we're focused on video in communities. We provide video posting, playback, and monetization services for about 60 sites, I think, at last count, including 4 of the web's 10 largest social networks, America Online's uncut video services. Current TV uses us for their video submitters to submit their work. And we provide really 3 things for the communities we work with. First, we provide highly tailored creation experiences that are really easy for users, that are specifically adapted for users to put video on to those communities with the right topic and the right formatting. We also provide infrastructure on top of Akamai's backbone. So we leverage a custom deployment of Akamai's 20,000 server network. And Tom is absolutely right that the way things are going, we're not all that far from melting down the internet with the demands of these kinds of video services. And the last thing we provide, of course, is monetization. We help our partners place advertising in the user-generated video that's uploaded to their site. So that's what we do.
So just to get the crowd to know where everybody is, how many people in the room, this is going to be easy, have watched a video on a user-generated video site?
Oh, yeah.
How many people have uploaded a video to a user-generated video site? All right. I mean, it's changing. I mean, it struck me when the phenomenon kicked off. You know, you guys have been doing it a little while, but when it really took off, that there were 3 things that were stimulating it. One was the ease of use. Sort of until it gets easy for the average person to do it, it doesn't happen. Right? So we've achieved a level of ease of use not necessarily the tools at home, but certainly the ease of being able to submit it and see your work on the internet and be able to share it and put it in someplace. I think it told a story to the major corporations and the major content producers that you didn't have to spend a whole lot of money to create content that people would watch. I think that for some reason that light had never gone on, and now it has. It's like, oh my God, this is cheap. And that's great if you're a major media company and you're trying to figure out how to save money in this digital world. And the third was that it created community. That wasn't video just an absolutely fabulous way to create community. People had done it with text, people had done it with photographs, and video being much more powerful and did that. So I mean, that's the way that struck me, and that seems to be what's leading to this charge, but a lot of it is the ease of use. But going back for a second, and whoever wants to jump in, the business of this, because it always definitely comes back to what is the business. You know, if all I'm doing is sharing video with my family, I don't have a business. I'm just taking videos and putting them up, and I have a bunch of friends, and I've got a camera, and I want to put it in a vlog, and that's cool. But there are people who are trying to make businesses out of this, and trying to be content creators with businesses around this. How are you guys helping to facilitate it, and is there a business model, or is this just a hobby? Where does the business start and the hobby end?
I think there's definitely a business model for content creators. There's an extremely compelling business model for content creators. The first thing is that when you look at the video sharing market, clearly there's not much of a business model for somebody who's just sharing video with their friends and family. That doesn't really help, and viral video doesn't really help. But if you're creating something that you get a consistent niche audience for, and that is a valuable niche audience, then that's an incredibly valuable commodity for an advertiser. Where an advertiser will come along, and even if you have 1,000 or 2,000 viewers, but if they're the right 1,000 or 2,000 viewers, they're worth a lot of money for a sponsor, for an advertiser, and you can absolutely make a living off of that.
Okay, so I get to challenge that now. So advertisers pay on cost per 1,000, and if they're going to pay $20 for 1,000 viewers, is that a business?
That's not a business if they're paying $20 for 1,000 viewers and you're only getting 1,000 viewers. But they don't always only pay $20 for 1,000 viewers. If they're the right viewers, they're worth a lot more than $20 per 1,000.
And I think the question there is we're using the old metrics of how we measure the value of someone being conveyed a message.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good, I'm just saying that's the way they're still paying.
Yeah, well, I think we're starting to see a shift where
they're not still paying that way.
They're not still paying that way. It's direct marketing. It's if you can engage that user in a product that they're passionate about in a community of shared interest, people are interested in selling their products, and that's where it's headed. It's smaller communities, but more directed and more engaged with that product or that community.
And then we know that advertisers are willing to play that game. I mean, what is the daily unique viewership of CNBC or Bloomberg Television? It's not large. I think I'd heard less than 500,000 unique people watch CNBC on a daily basis. It's an established and successful cable television station, even an old media model, because that 250,000 member base is the right 250,000 fold.
Well, and it may go back to the key being the cost of production, right? I mean, you know, Rocket Boom is now selling its first ads, but you know, if it only costs $25 to produce the show, as opposed to $25,000 or $250,000 or $25 million to produce the show, then I guess you don't need as much to make a business out of it.
Yeah, but you're still thinking about it in old economic terms. You're thinking about it in terms of broadcast advertising, and the point is, you know, if you have the right 1,000 people, so you can broadcast your KitchenAid mixer ad if you're KitchenAid to, I don't know, 500,000 people on a cooking show on the Lifetime channel. But a lot of those people may be just watching for entertainment. They're not interested in cooking at all. They're not interested in buying a giant mixer. But if you get the cooking, you know, a cooking blog all of a sudden you have, I don't know, 1,000 readers, 2,000 readers, and placing an ad on that blog because that person is creating content, they're writing, and they're making little videos of how to make chocolate chip cookies. Now it's interesting. Now there's potentially 1,000 people who could buy that KitchenAid mixer. That's what they're talking about.
By the way, I've been selling this story for 7 years, so I absolutely agree with you. The problem is, and the challenge I would put out there is that there is a group of people who are the creators of this who get the value, but you're trying to sell it to Madison Avenue, and that's still, they're not, I don't think they're there yet. Okay, I think they'll get there.
Actually,
I think they'll get there, but I don't think they're, you know, you want them to be all the way over here, and they're first starting to understand the value of community and the value of this audience and the value of the niche. But if you ask them, you know, would they rather have reach and target, they would say, sure, I'd rather have reach and target. If I have to choose one or the other, that's terrific, but it's still, I think, you know, it's a world of 6 million, I mean, my pitch is that we have 250 media universes now, right? This is not a 50-channel universe, it's not a 100-channel universe, it's not a 5,000-channel universe, it's a 250 million channel universe, right? But if you're an advertiser, you still want to know who that is, and they want a lot of information that at the moment is still challenging, and you guys are trying to bring that all together in a way that has them understand it, so they'll be willing to pay for it. But I'm not sure they're there yet.
I would disagree. I mean, we do a lot of user testing at Dabble. We test all of our stuff with regular users for the site every week. We also test with brand managers and marketing ad buyers. And they're really, really into this.
Good.
I got to second that. That's different from what we've heard. At Grouper, we've talked with you know, a lot of advertisers in New York. We've worked with consumer packaged goods companies like Del Monte doing tests, and I think the shift that's all around engagement is where the advertising content becomes the featured content, and things like user-generated commercial contests that, you know, Doritos is doing, and Converse has done, and you know, Sierra Mist sponsoring, you know, huge portions of, you know, big social networks. We're seeing you know, the user-generated spirit enter that world, and certain brands are embracing it already. Other traditional brands will wait, but everybody's going to get involved. The question is in what capacity and when, and people are already, I think, flocking to this space.
Well, and I think that I agree with you that they want to test it, and they're trying to understand it, and you guys are helping them do that, and you're proselytizing, and you're preaching, and you're bringing them over, and you're giving them the tools to do that, and that's key. You know, the challenge always becomes the level of the CPM, getting them out of a CPM universe into a branded content universe, you know, Bud TV, all the things that we're seeing. But then you're still aggregating, and I think things like search, things like the tools for aggregation are going to start making a difference because there are just a lot of niches, and, you know, we've all read our long tail stuff and we understand it, but it's about bringing that together, creating those communities, and having those communities be valuable. How are the tools, because you know, we're just scratching the surface of this, right? I mean, this is new. How are the tools going to change in the next 12 months that are going to make this that much simpler and that much easier and that much better, both for the audience and for the people trying to submit content?
We'll all raise our
I think selling YouTube to Google for $1.6 billion is good business. It's not what we call brick and mortar business, but it is a business. So Google did well too. I think you'll see a lot of transactions like that. And there's nothing wrong with that kind of transaction. It starts everything up, get things noticed. But you're right, it takes a lot more tinkering and studying and analyzing and getting the tools right to get this revolution of turning from 1% of people editorializing and showing it to 200 million people and flipping that around. And have 200 million people showing it to 200 million people is not going to be overnight. And it's going to require a lot of scientific analysis of how to do this well. But we're on the way And if you don't join now, you're going to be late. So compression, network optimization, queuing of video inside the router correctly. I mean, the internet is terrible compared to Los Angeles highway in terms of queuing. It's either completely packed or vacant. If you had a goggle inside the internet, that's what it looks like. Terrible architecture. Okay? We have hacks like Akamai that pushes content to the edge, but it's a hack. You know, come on. You know, we can make the internet much better for video, and we're doing that. And we're going to ship mathematics that does that, ship routers that do that. Compression's been stymied for the last 4 years. When did we get finally half of MPEG-2, MPEG H.264? It took 15 years to get there. So we're shipping compressions much more aggressively over the next few years.
I'd love to get Kevin to jump in there. What do you think about the technology part, and how is that going to change in the next 12 months?
Well, I think it's exactly the question to be asking, and I think Thomas is right that there's a lot on the back end that needs to happen. I think when we look at the problem, though, of how you turn 250 million people into creators, it's not a router problem. It's the problem that my mother faces when she shoots a video and wants to send it to my brother and I. And I think what we are going to see happen in the next little bit is very rapid iteration around a discrete set of video creation problems. Companies like VideoEgg are going to be innovating around how you solve the video problem for some very specific uses. And that's really key. How many people here use a Macintosh? Okay, pretty good number. Have you guys seen, I think it's called Comic Life, the comic book creation software? It's absolutely, it was the most recent piece of software to give me chills. And if you're wondering if I was a dork, that just answered the question for you. But when I first looked at Comic Life, I was absolutely blown away. Because as a fan of comic books for a very long time, I can't draw to save my life, and I'd never been able to make one. And here was this interface that took photos and very simple layouts and allowed you to really quickly throw together a comic book that was incredibly compelling. It had all the right fonts, and it had all the right bubbles, and it had all the right frames right there. And literally in the course of 5 minutes, you could build an action-adventure series right next to your desk. I speak from experience. But the trick is if you had tried to build that same comic book using something like Photoshop or Illustrator, it would have taken a very long time and required an extraordinary degree of know-how. And when you look at what the video world is doing right now, we have lots of software packages, most of which are on the desktop, some of which are now beginning to appear online, that let you edit full movies together. Their Final Cut Pro, their iMovie, and it's beginning to show up in web browsers. And I think the next step for video isn't how do you make a feature film on a computer. The next step is how do I make an auction listing video for a 1967 Ford Mustang? Or how do I make a video of a trip to Hawaii, right? And the templates and feature sets that are assembled around those kinds of tasks, I think are going to be really compelling, and I think that's what's going to break it open. Because nobody wants to make a bad movie. And we have very high expectations for how good those movies need to be. And companies that can address those challenges, I think, are going to move things forward.
I think there's an underlying thread that runs through this is we're seeing the convergence of the producer and the consumer. And so a lot of the folks around here are defining where they can add value to the process around consumption and large audience or production and the value of production. And if you look around where this is Digital Hollywood, you know, it was based on initially taking the radio and moving it to television. Well, the first shot at that wasn't real compelling until they hired a bunch of people that were doing movie studio work, and they found that it took a team of people with different roles that came together and produced compelling television. We're seeing the same thing happen with content and code. And we're seeing the evolution of these two things converging together, where the content and the code is evolving rapidly around specific areas focused on production and consumption. And that's what's so exciting. There's a lot, it's a big market, there's a lot of opportunity, and we're all going to grab a little piece of it.
So how are we going to find, I'll start with you, Mary, because that's kind of what you guys do, but I mean, one of the things that's kind of daunting around all this is that there's going to be all this content out there created by 250 million people, trying to reach 250 million people.
Actually, it's not that there's going to be.
Well, there is.
There are 200,000 videos a day uploaded
Right.
right now to those 270 sites.
So how do we find it? How
So-
is the average person going to really be
So
able to
I
do it?
do think that search is really important if you know what you're looking for, but I think and the more important piece is discovery and recommendations and how things can get referred to you, and sure, you can get things in IM and in email, but you presumably, to one degree or another, you have to know the person personally or in some way so that they give you their information, right? But if you're in a service that allows you to find people who find interesting things, I mean, think about how Napster was so fun at the very beginning, when you could get a list of songs and realize that you kept seeing the same users show up over and over, and you realized, wow, they've got the really good stuff. And then you went to look at their entire library and you just said, okay, download all. And obviously that was a bad model, but the interaction there was really, really compelling. And when we interview users, they still remember that 6 years later. We have, 14-year-old girl that we interviewed the other day, and she referenced this. It was amazing. She brought it up on her own. People want that. They want somebody who can filter for them something interesting. And the thing is, it's not going to be the same person for everyone. You're going to have to go look, we have similar tastes. I don't know who they are, but I'm going to subscribe to their stuff in my RSS aggregator, or if I'm not a geek, I'm just going to click on their name and add them to, in Dabble, you can just add them to your list and you'll see their stuff every day. And, 200,000 videos plus hundreds of thousands more that are coming from all of those independent sites is just, you can't even deal with 1% of that. You can't even deal with 1/10 of 1% of that. But if you have, a little group of people that can choose the right 5 or 10 videos every day that you want to watch, then, and you know the value, how things are valuable to people. And that's where I think having the social community on the grander scale is really valuable. If you're getting all that data from all those different hosters, you still don't necessarily know how things are valuable to people on a larger scale. But if you have a community, even if it's only 10% of the total users that come to the site, who are the organizer types, and they give you a little bit of extra data around a tag, or they put it into a playlist, or they say something about the video, you can know a lot more.
I'm going to add a few things to that, because I totally agree. And this is what you're going to see. This is going to happen, and I say that not because I know that Grouper is doing it and that other sites are doing it, but it's what users needed. When there is so much information, you have to make it easy to find things. And that you can subscribe to a user, you can subscribe to a channel or to a keyword. A site can look at what you've watched and look at your behavior patterns. There can be collaborative filtering, there can be recommendation engines. But the key to all of it is making it still easy or transparent to the user, so that you're even offering and pushing to them a huge list of, here's what you've said that you like, what we think you're going to like, and what we know is related to what you've watched. And some of that might not be streaming, it could be getting downloaded in the background. You could wake up every morning and just like, here's fresh coffee, you've got videos, it's, here's what we downloaded last night for you based on your preferences. And now you can also watch high quality, much higher bitrate versions that are going to look gorgeous. And if that's done seamlessly, the user is just hooked. And making it easy for them to say, yes, I liked it, or no, I didn't like it, so that it's a learning engine is also, key to getting that right. And there's one thing to emphasize. I mean, how do we know what books to go buy, what music, new bands to listen to, whether you like the movie? It's like, what did your friends tell you? Like, people you trust, everybody has trusted sources, editors in your own personal life. And so I think you're going to see more of that, and you're definitely going to see it from Grouper, the ability to say, here are people whose judgment I trust, whose taste I like. And that's going to be another piece of the logic into the recommendation engines that would make this, this morass of video manageable.
There's one other piece. One of the problems that comes up over and over for people, regular people, not the geek people who have 300 feeds in their aggregators, but regular people that just want to read the newspaper online and get the right amount of information, is that they feel incredibly overwhelmed by the amount of information everywhere, not just around video or entertainment stuff. And I think the other challenge here is, as you say, is the interface. Not making interfaces that make those people feel overwhelmed. Like if we give them 300 videos every night to watch, and they see that in the morning, and then they have, they miss it for 3 days, and all of a sudden there's 900 videos to watch, they're going to totally freak out. You can't do that to people. You have to figure out, I think, ways to give people limited pieces so that they feel really comfortable with the amount that they've seen, and they feel like they've gotten the water cooler effect. They can go hang out with their friends and say, yeah, I saw the really cool video, but they're done. They don't feel bad about what they're getting. And I think this moderation piece is really very, very hard.
I'm just going to put a question in there.
Right now, we're working on technology shipping probably next year for video semantic search. Go find me all the videos with the Humvee. Should be able to do that fairly easily. You can give an exemplar of a face or object or logo and scan that exemplar in and have a search throughout YouTube or throughout wherever the universe is and catch all the relevant videos. So video semantic search is going to be a very big technology in this field. And it doesn't only go to the consumer side. So imagine buying YouTube for $1.6 billion and imagining going to court for the next 3 years. Now, how do you automate the upload side so porno is not shoved into YouTube? We can do that with semantic search. So you cannot do that with human beings. You're not going to have NetMama, China-type operations in America going through every single video, making sure that it's copyrighted and not porno. So, of course, we have to automate it. We're not there yet, but we're close.
Yeah, I have to agree with everything that everybody said on this subject so far, but I think that it misses a point, which is that video is a lot like text. It's a medium. And so what I want to do and how I want to experience and how I want to find video and why I want to find it and watch it is different under different circumstances. If I'm going car shopping, I need to have a very different experience than when I just have 10 minutes to kill and I want to go from video to video. And I need to have a very different experience then from when I sit down on my couch at night and I just want to see the latest shows that I like. Like I subscribe to The Wire on my DVR and I want to sit down on my couch at the end of the day and see, oh, there's a new episode of The Wire, let me watch that. And then maybe I want to sit down on my couch and say, oh, there's a new episode of Geek Entertainment TV, let me watch that. When I have 10 minutes to kill in the office and I'm just sitting at my desk waiting for a meeting, I want just to see like 5 videos that have been recommended to me from friends that are 5 minutes long. When I'm going car shopping, I want to have an eBay-like interface where I can shop for cars based on their criteria and get videos of the cars back to show me actually what condition they're in. So there are a lot of right answers to the user experience of shifting through this mass of videos. Every one of those, I don't know what it is, 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 videos that are getting uploaded every day is materially different, and people want to find them for different reasons in different ways.
So I hate being on panels where the moderator thinks he's smarter than all the people in the audience. So while we still have plenty of time, and I can go back and ask more questions if you guys run out, but I just assume if you guys want to start shooting questions at these guys, we'll be happy to take some now, and then I can ask more later. Anybody? Sir?
Yeah, to you, Mary. You've got a bunch of sites that you're looking to find material from. The question is, how do you find those sites? And to the earlier question about bellwether or gurus, video gurus, people whose taste others may want to follow. how do you find those, and how do you identify those, and how do you avoid the competition for anyone wanting to follow the groups going forward?
So I think
So
The
there's
U-
two questions.
there's
The
two
first
different
question is
U's.
picking a site. The second one is how do you identify the group?
you're asking about does a user pick a site to go look at, or how does Dabble find sites to search?
How does Dabble find a site? And then a general question to the panel about how you find these groups that you think are the bellwethers for what is consistent around.
We don't pick any one site over another site. I mean, we just search them all. Anything we know about, we search, and I guess I'm not exactly clear on what you mean by that.
How did you find those sites?
How did we find them? We just, I don't know. I mean, it's like we've been working on this for a year and a half. And we talk to people, we look online. We have programmatic ways of finding sites as well, and programmatic ways of following links. And so discovering a new site, I mean, not to get too geeky, I don't really want to do that, but I mean, there's, you follow what bloggers do, you follow what people in Delicious do, you follow what one site linking to another, and you use technical methods to find sites that are out there. I mean, it's what Google does. They spider. I mean,
I'll answer your second.
But I can answer the second question, which is how does a user choose somebody who might be interesting? I mean, in Dabble, every video playlist, every every individual video record has a list of all the people who collect them. So people kept asking us about this Napster thing. They wanted to see who was collecting what and why, and kind of be able to back into finding the interesting people in different ways. So if they keep seeing playlists show up, if they see videos show up, they want to know who's collecting them and where, and then they kind of match their tastes, and then go and follow those people, and they just hit a button and subscribe to their videos. So that's one way. I think you can do it through your own observation. You can do it by asking people. You can do it in recommendations. We're watching bloggers link to other people's playlists in Dabble, and then we're getting a lot of traffic that way. There's just a lot of little tools that people are using to do that. But it's extremely varied the ways that people do that.
Dave?
Yeah, at OutThink, we have a private trusted network that we connect friends together, and we ask each other what are the cool video blogs or videos that you've seen, and our friends who know us recommend things they think we would like.
You else want to jump in on that?
Well, I'll just say that you do have a wide variety of audience, and you need to have kind of the range of interface from a big button that says, this is cool, show me more. It makes it easy for like my parents to say, I'd like to see more videos from this source, to a little video RSS button that a blogger or somebody that's much more tech savvy knows, okay, that's just going to give me a subscription fee. So again, I think it gets back to the interface question of how do you make it easy, and how do you give just enough interface for the mainstream audience and power users and people that are brand new to it.
Yes, sir.
Well, I would ask you. Bring it back down.
Meet you halfway.
You're recording this, so I think that's fine.
Right. I want to ask this question a little different way. Netflix has a contest right now for individuals to develop better search firms, so that when you put in a term, you come up with something that's very relevant to you. And his question really was, do one of you have good tools for finding the gurus, as he was saying, identifying who the good sources are versus the lower quality sources for the information that you're gathering up and allowing consumers to feed? It's the front end. Are you building infrastructure that creates better search results?
I hate to say this because it's cliche, but everybody's perfect guru is different than anybody else's perfect guru. Like, everybody has their own particular sets of taste, and Mary's perfect guru or perfect editor is probably extremely different than mine. So I don't know, you guys deal with this problem much more than we do.
But Google and Yahoo do something.
Well, yeah, but they look at the wisdom of the crowd directly by saying, you know what, this guy has 1,000 more links from 1,000 more sites that are linked to more than, you know, 1,000 other sites, right? And that's valuable. But Google and Yahoo run into exactly the same problem where they return the same set of results for me and Mary's looking for results about video, and I'm looking for results about Perl code.
So Dabble does have, you know, ways to do this, and it's a little bit harder to describe. Maybe going and showing it to you would make more sense, but I'll give it a whirl. There are various relationships between all of the people who are in Dabble collecting things and in effect promoting something in a way. If I collect it and it shows up on the folks who've subscribed to my media's list, it's a kind of promotion or recommendation. And so there's that effect that happens. And in addition to that, there are ways in the system to discover what kinds of other playlists people are making, what things are bubbling up either across the community or within my little micro community. And I think what you maybe really are poking at is the micro community concept where, you know, there's 40 people and they have kind of a shared understanding of what's funny, and it maybe wouldn't match with the next community down the road of 40 people, but for them it makes sense, and they want to be able to share that information. And it may be that other folks don't necessarily want to be a part of the group that's discovering video, but they just want to watch that group find things. And so that's all publicly available, and you can find it pretty easily on Dabble. If you go to the front page, the very first thing you're going to see on the Launchpad page is a video of the day. And if you click on that page, usually a few people have begun to collect it. And so if you just look at who's collecting it, what playlist it's in, all of a sudden you have this, you know, and if you like that video, you're at the beginning point of finding a little group of people that may have similar taste.
Let me answer that question. It's a very interesting question because Google is based on text, and HTML was primarily based on text and images. So we have this browser barrier that we have to overcome. And we never watch TV on a browser, so we're bringing TV into a browser world. And you're doing that because of technological legacy, and we're just trying to climb out of the browser world. So I see IPTV completely breaking out of the browser world. And imagine having 200 million channels, but it bubbles up based on what your taste is. So just give me the number one channel. Here it is. Give me the worst channel with nobody watching. Here it is. You know. Give me the channel that mothers love. Here it is. Here's the channel that, you know, Skullbone skateboarders love. Here it is. So it's not difficult. Don't try to put yourself too much into the browser world and think it that way. Then YouTube and Grouper is a separate site. To me, it's just a different channel on the TV.
I'm going to add one thing to this, and that is you have the human side of editors and, you know, a content team that can review video and have an opinion, and you have an editorial personality or stance, and package video to promote. And, you know, Yahoo does this with their show The Nine. Other networks are doing it. Grouper does it. We have, you know, like a video of the day. We put forth what we think users are going to be interested in. And we have tools that we know scale, because with thousands, tens, hundreds of thousands of videos coming up, you need to let users see what has been the most viewed, what has been the most forwarded or the most viral, what's been the most discussed, what has been downloaded the most. And so you have this huge spectrum, and you can cover a portion of it with, you know, an editorial stance, and then you have to have tools that address just the magnitude of video and let users find the things that they're going to like the best. And so tools and systems where if I see a video that somebody else has commented on, I can click on them and see what else have they commented on, what else have they downloaded, what else is in their playlist. That kind of playing tag is how people are discovering not just music anymore or text, but video. So, and that's the Grouper way.
I wanted to ask the panel, what did you think about fake user-generated ads like the Smirnoff Tea or the Lonely Girl campaign? Do you think there'll be a backlash if people start seeing, oh, that's my favorite video, when they find out that Sprite paid for it, or Coke or something like that at McDonald's? What do you actually think about that? Because maybe that segues to Madison Avenue, they'll just kind of create more fake user-generated videos for you to watch.
What do you think about it?
I actually was watching the Smirnoff Raw Tea one because I actually, I'm a hip-hop producer, so I actually thought they were a real rapper, so I actually was trying to contact them. And then, I still talking to their PR agencies and stuff, so, I mean, it was a little disappointing because I actually wanted to find those perfect gangsters. I actually wanted to find them. We went to the hip-hop website, so we wanted to interview them, we wanted to see what was going on, because they'd be in shows like that, so it was a little deflating, because I didn't know that they weren't really real. They really weren't there, you know, so I don't know if people, I didn't watch the Lonely Girl thing, but I mean, just, do you think there's going to be a kind of a backlash to that situation?
Well, I think people always want, people want transparency, and one of the things that the internet does really well is catches up with people who aren't transparent, because everybody else can publish about it. So, you know, there has been a lot of outcry about that kind of thing, and it happened with text. It's happened with, look at Edelman right now and their vlogs. You know, they weren't transparent, and people got upset. And so it's, you know, I think it's not cool, but, you know, we can see on the back end, for example, at YouTube, that lots of companies are making usernames that look viral, and they're uploading video, and we can tell that, you know, it's actually been done by the company. So I think there's actually a lot more of it than you think.
You're suggesting corporate America is being manipulative?
Yeah, I mean, corporations have always been willing to do things that were manipulative, what can you say? But it's, you know, I think being transparent is really important, and we're just learning the lesson all over again with video, because it's a new medium and people think it's different, or they somehow forgot after text blogs and other mediums that, you know, it's not a very good idea to do to people.
Oh, that's right. It's not that there's never been a lip sync, you know, in a concert that ever got busted before. So, to amplify that, like the integrity of user-generated video, I think one of the big appeals for a lot of the videos that really go big, that have a huge draw, is that the audience can relate and feel like, yeah, that's like just like me, like the guy dropping a Mentos in a Coke can. Like I did something wacky in my basement, or, you know, opened up my fridge and there was a science experiment. And when you see that it's a hoax, there's definitely a backlash, and it was still very successful. I mean, it generated tremendous PR. So people are gonna do that, like they have in every other medium, and you'll see the real user-generated, you know, videos that are genuine, and have different merits.
Isn't there? I mean, I was going to touch on this before on the journalism side, having been a journalist once in my life for 20 years. I think there's some concern about the genuineness and authoritativeness of what goes on the web, and the fact that you can videotape it and it appears to be genuine gives more credence to it, and the fact that anybody can declare themselves now to be a journalist. If anybody saw Jon Stewart do his well, but he did his spoof on the CNN user-generated content stuff, which was very funny if you haven't seen it. But you know, there's an issue here with everybody being a producer, everybody being a journalist, everyone being an expert, and now having the proof to do that. Anybody can have a blog, anybody can put a camera up, anybody can take a picture, anybody can submit that. I don't know that there's necessarily a backlash to that, but is that a concern socially for you guys, just as you look at the space and as you participate in it? Are we worried about that? And you guys may be worried about it too.
I think to your comment about Jon Stewart, we have an attitude and opinion about Jon Stewart or about Fox or about NBC, and we go to a trusted source. Over time, we say we agree with the opinions, the views, and that's the same thing's going to happen on the internet. We're not reinventing human behavior. We're just creating new connections around it.
So those trusted sources just have to become trusted over a period of time without the label.
Well, and people trusted Jason Blair and Stephen Glass. So.
Oh, no, people don't
Yeah.
trust the mainstream media either. It's just that they have a credential at this point that somebody who decides to take a camera out and shoot a story and put it up on the internet at this point doesn't have, nor do they necessarily have an editor, nor has two sets of eyes been on the video before it was published. And some of the rules that, whether they get broken or not, are still in place in mainstream newsrooms around the world, are not in place on the internet. And now the mainstream media feels like they have to compete against that, which I think personally is driving their product down, because they're trying to compete with a world of bloggers who don't have the same issues.
Yeah, but
is it a problem?
But the issue is, and we shouldn't get into a blogging versus journalism discussion, because that's not what this is. But on this panel, it's citizen journalism, but we're not really here to spend a lot of time on that. But the thing is that instead of your editor back at the newspaper or wherever, your editor is really everyone online. And if you do something that's unethical or untrue, everyone will call you on it, and they'll do it immediately, and your reputation will plummet. You'll be modded down. Everyone else will be modded up who found it, and that's sort of the end of it. And I don't think that you should discount, because the interaction is happening over many blogs or over many video bloggers or over many sources. You shouldn't discount the value. Or
it just has more. I'm just saying that the issue that is relative to this is the introduction of video into the game. So video as a powerful mechanism for telling a story exceeds text and exceeds photographs, so it takes it to a whole other level faster and can be distributed, as we know, virally immediately around the internet, and the impact that might have before it gets called on, that's something that we're going to have to, I think, deal with.
We're talking about something, I'm sorry, we're talking about something much less insidious, though, than
The mass media.
Right, than fraudulent journalism. I mean, their entertainment has always betrayed us in this way. My personal moment was when I was watching Martin Sheen do an interview about playing President Bartlett on the West Wing. He says, yeah, he's supposed to be a grandmaster at chess, and it's funny, I don't know how to play the game. And for me in that moment, it was just, you have this character you've come to identify with and you trust that you're watching, and suddenly they're not who they said they were. And this has happened to us since we were little kids. On the internet, with internet entertainment, it's happening again. The rappers were actually paid by Smirnoff, and they weren't actually real rappers. And there's a little moment of betrayal, but it's entertainment. And by the time it made its way to me, I laughed, I'm sure, just as hard as you did. I knew that it was an ad for Smirnoff.
No, but they were rappers. That's the point, is that they couldn't have been fake.
That's fair.
How many people believe in a piece of photograph? Today, really believe in it? Probably nobody, because it's so easy to edit, and video is going to be that way too, very, very soon. Mathematical video that we're doing, you add a 4 into the end of the formula, and it still look like math, right? So you can't see the edit points, anamorphic video edit. So of course, the reliability of video will go down to 0, which is a good thing, because don't we believe way too much on what comes out of the tube? Definitely do.
There are two other key points to say on this. One is that it's early. I mean, it's very early in this space, and what we're seeing is like video Darwinism on speed. Categories emerging where you're going to see sites that are aggregating or facilitating content create channels, whether it's user-generated commercials or talent show or lip sync or the funniest personal ads that people were willing to go public with, or here are my Craigslist listings, or my or the best of the eBay videos, and it's just really early. And I think we're going to see structure evolve, but it's a new medium, so it's going to have different dynamics. And as everybody has said, yes, you can pull the puppet strings behind video, and people will do it for different purposes, but it's a pretty discerning audience. And that said, at the end of the day, if that video, which was a fake, received a tremendous viewership, then it achieved somebody's goal.
Good time for a couple more questions. Yes, ma'am.
A question for Thomas, or really anybody on the panel. Going back to the search, is there a way to find video of certain video quality, such as video that's acceptable for viewing on a 10-foot interface?
Absolutely. You can look at the bit rate, you can look at regression ratios, you can look at all these meta tags that are attached to your video, and you should be able to absolutely do that.
We'll get over there, but the mic's over here, so then we'll get over there.
Can you talk about, a little bit about what videos are the most popular that people are actually willing to pay for? To pay for? Yeah. I mean, we talk a lot about, videos and a lot of stuff on, but let's talk about what people are really willing to pay for.
People are paying for porno. Right?
Oh, sorry.
There it is.
They're paying for video poker. Right?
Sports, live sports.
Yeah, I think for really niche kinds of content that people are willing to pay. But I think that very soon, the sort of, pay $2 for that half-an-hour episode of Green Acres, it's probably not selling very much. And my guess is that people are figuring out, and I'm watching this happen more and more, people are figuring out how to, chop up that video, insert some ads, and just play it and share their ad revenue. But there's other kinds of payments that people can make. I mean, and I think we will see this coming where, maybe you could buy 15 seconds of the Green Acres video and put it together with your own video and, and remix that for limited uses. And it may not be that Green Acres is willing to let that happen, or the people that own that video, but there will be people who will sell clips for remixing. And the thing is that people desperately want to be able to associate themselves with traditional media that they love, that they have remembrance or memories for, and that I think is actually a payment model that could be useful.
People are willing to pay for something that they get concrete benefit from as well. So if they need to retile their shower, they will pay $2 for a video which teaches them how to do that.
Yeah, maybe a follow-on to that question and maybe one other. How much do you think that lack of real good micropayment methodologies sort of suppress that, where you can do 50 cents for the tile video? And, is there some element of retarding that because you don't have great payments infrastructure?
It's definitely a problem, but there are lots of sites now doing micropayments, and I put that in quotes, where what they're really doing is they take $10 and then they take bits out whenever you buy things. And so they don't make any money if you just buy one thing, but they'll give you a real discount for doing the $10, so they'll give you a lot more because now they're making money. And so but you're right, it's definitely a problem.
And my second question, really a different subject matter, would be, what do you see as the biggest mobile distribution challenges?
Walled gardens.
The technology, the cell phone companies.
Well, you guys all know that H.264 doesn't. You all know that H.264 doesn't stream on cell. I think everybody should know that. They did promise the cell phone companies that it will stream, and they implemented it and it doesn't stream. So sure, we have to make these videos streamable on cell phones, absolutely. And we're very, very close to this.
Closed platforms are a huge problem.
And many different platforms, many different carriers, different hardware, different interfaces. It's a zoo.
Yeah. So many walled gardens. Take it down.
Yeah.
So Japan's really got a better solution problem.
Basically, the rest of the world is first world on cell, and the U.S. is like third world. Really bad.
So they're giving me a wrap. So thanks to these great panelists. I'm sure these guys will be out here for a couple of minutes if people have specific questions, and thanks.